Tonight on Joy News Prime, police in Kumasi arrest 3 men who filmed themselves brandishing weapons in a video that went viral on social media.
We have these 3 men in our custody in relation to those videos and pictures that we have seen. We have retrieved a pump-action gun, as you can see. The suspects all belonging to the same family.
Meanwhile, Central Region Police says it is investigating circumstances that led to the attack of a Bullion van at Gomwa Ochireko on Thursday.
They went to the police station to report, and the Winneba police gave them an escort, additional van with police officers to escort them from Winneba to Zenith Bank, Odoko. Currently, the case is under investigations.
The Ghana Police Service has meanwhile vowed to arrest the armed assailants who attacked and robbed a Bullion van at Jamestown early this week.
Assuring everybody and the nation that these criminals, especially those who committed last week's crime, and all others who have committed such crime in recent times, are going to be arrested soon.
In Parliament, the House withholds approval of 3 deputy ministers designate over concerns raised by the minority.
When the approach and the circumstances and the situations are right, our side will always rise us up to the occasion. So upon further consultations with leadership, it was decided that her name be stepped down today for further consultations before the House takes a decision on her.
Deputy Majority Leader, however, insists the 3 will be passed eventually.
We voted by consensus, and for whatever concerns that anybody has, I'm sure that on Tuesday we're going to resolve it. So there's no need to be worried at all.
In business, a common currency for trading under AfCFTA almost ready. Secretary General of the AfCFTA Secretariat, Wamkele, has been speaking about it.
With the deployment of the Pan-African Payments and Settlement Platform, the Secretariat and Eriksen Bank intend to confront some of the challenges that are related to currency, to the cost of currency convertibility.
And later in this bulletin, National COVID-19 Trust Fund ambassadors describe as unfortunate the flouting of COVID-19 protocols by the President and other top government officials. My name is Aisha Brian. Joy News Prime comes here live from our studios in Kokomlemle on your digital terrestrial TV, because we're free to air on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. Remember, we are your home of independent, fearless, credible and impactful journalism. Do stay tuned in. Many thanks for choosing us. Let's begin with Chief Justice Kwesi Eniniaboa, who is being asked to stop Supreme Court Judge Clemens Onyanugan from hearing the case involving former Cocobot CEO Dr. Opuni. He is accused of causing a $217 million financial loss to the state in the purchase of fertilizer from businessman Seidu Agongo. The 2 have been standing trial since 2017, with Justice Onyanuga, who has been hearing the matter as an additional High Court judge accused of bias. Joseph Akable was in court on Friday as a new petition to the Chief Justice was announced.
The tussle between Justice Onyanuga and Dr. Opuni's lawyers continues. The lawyers have tried at least 3 times to have him removed. This is therefore the 4th of such an application. The previous 3 applications had hinged on comments the judge made in his capacity as a chief and in his rulings as a judge. In 2020, he was accused of bias after he had praised government's implementation of the free senior high school program during a speech in his capacity as a chief. A request was laid before him in court demanding his recusal. He turned down this request, causing the lawyers to petition the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice dismissed the petition. The lawyers in May this year made another recusal request. The alleged Justice Onyenuga, while ruling on a submission of no case application, made definitive comments suggesting Dr. Opuni had committed a crime even though the case had not ended. He is also accused of saying he intends to determine the matter expeditiously, something the lawyers say would deny Dr. Opuni a fair trial. Justice Onyenuga said he will continue to hear the case, describing the application as one made in bad faith. The Chief Justice is being asked to intervene yet again by transferring the case to a different judge. The case has therefore been adjourned to June 29 as the court awaits the Chief Justice's direction on the matter.
Police Public Affairs Director Superintendent Sheila Beye-Bachman says the recent wireless message warning about possible attacks on Ghanaians by Burkinabe bandits is no cause for alarm, but rather a caution. The wireless message circulated 3 days ago indicates the bandits suspected to be in possession of military-grade weapons may have already infiltrated some yet to be identified areas and planning attacks on Ghana. Upper East Regional Minister Stephen Yakubu says though the security agency are on high alert, residents should report any suspicious characters in their communities. But the Paga residents, where the Ghana-Burkina Faso border is located, say they are terrified and want soldiers to be deployed there. Speaking to journalists after attending the passing out of police recruits from the Police Public Safety Training School at Kwalugu in the Upper East region, the Police Director of Public Affairs said the regular number of uniformed men at the border should not be misconstrued.
I want to assure you that there is maximum security in the Upper East region. There is maximum security in Ghana. We continue to pick intelligence from time to time, and some of them is based on the topography of crime happening across the sub-region. So when intelligence or when information is picked and processed into intelligence, actions are taken. The communication you saw is one of several communications that have been going on and will continue to go on in different forms. It is no cause for alarm. What it is that it should put everyone on alert. In the Upper East region here, we know that we have borders that people can come through. We are friendly people, and so we welcome strangers and visitors like our own. This is a wake-up call that when we see people that we do not know, we will inquire and possibly report their movements and activities to the security services for action. It is an assurance that security services have picked up whatever information a long time ago, and we are working on it. Thankfully today, over 2,000 new police officers have passed out. They would go through different forms of training to beef up the numbers, even to increase visibility across the country. So it is only an assurance for us that we must be alert. The security services already know what to do, and we are doing them. We just have to be alert and report activities, particularly of people who are not known in our communities. So right now, if people are looking at the number of uniformed officers stationed at a place for policing, the dynamics have changed. Technology have made it necessary that you may not have, previously if you were using 100 police officers, by now if CCTV is helping you to monitor at a place other than the venue, then you may have less number of police officers in uniform. Also, strategies are revised. So sometimes you will see people just like yourselves lurking around, but they are security officers working with other officers. It is when we are going for operations and all those things that most of the time we need to be in uniform. So be assured, the fact that you do not see plenty uniform does not mean that there are no plenty security officers around. There are. That is why we want you to continue to cooperate and give information as and when, so that we will follow lead with it. But technology is helping us to increase security more than it used to be without technology. And then, like I said, covert operations are also used to substitute whatever uniformed officers, complement whatever uniformed officers do.
Mayor police in Wale Wale in the West Mamprusi municipality have arrested a man who severely assaulted his 8-year-old daughter for allegedly stealing 10 cedis. The girl, currently at the emergency unit of the Wale Wale Government Hospital, is also being treated for other bodily injuries following the physical torture by the suspect. Municipal Police Commander DSP Cosmos Awe confirmed the arrest. We'll come to that shortly, but correspondent Elias Otanko filed the following report and the plea by family members to the police not to arrest the suspect, citing a strict cultural norm which they claim forbids a married woman from causing or facilitating the arrest of her husband for any domestic violation or abuse.
According to relatives of the victim, the incident occurred Wednesday at about 7 p.m. at Parpiri, a secluded community near Wulugu and about 15 kilometers from Wale Wale, the municipal capital. The victim was accused by her stepmother of stealing 10 Ghana cedis belonging to her grandmother, which she denied after interrogations. Joy News has gathered the father, however, insisted the money was with her and subjected her to several bouts of beatings with a giant stick, which led to an eye injuries before burning her hand with a fire which had been set to prepare the night's meal. He then abandoned the victim in pains without any treatment and left to his farm the next day. The victim was, however, rescued by her teachers, who rushed her to the Wulugu Health Center and was quickly referred to the Wale Wale Hospital. Amina Salifo is an auntie of the victim who has been taking care of her at the hospital. Her palm is totally destroyed. According to the child, the father held her hand in the fire for several minutes. So this child has really suffered unimaginable pain. But I'm pleading for him not to be arrested. Let's forgive him. He is someone who lacks patience. So we will take care of the child. But for my sister, she will never return into this kind of marriage. The victim lives with her father, stepmother, grandmother, and other siblings at the village. Her mother, following similar domestic violence by the man, had left the marriage to engage in kayaye on the street of Kumasi, was informed about the incident by her sister. At the hospital, Azaratu DC, as she identified herself, broke down in tears upon seeing the condition of her child.
I was in Kumasi working as kayaye when I received a call. The man is irresponsible. It is because he has refused to cater for me and my children. That is why I'm engaged in kayaye in the first place.
She was, however, hesitant in pursuing the matter with the police, citing a strict cultural norm. I really don't have enough details about going to the police. As you know, my sister has been here from the start. As for me, I'm so confused. I don't know what to do next. And the family head, Sani Alasan, who was at the hospital to persuade the victim's mother from involving the police, also pleaded for his brother to be pardoned.
We have
to caution him, but what we need to do for now is to concentrate on getting adequate care for this little girl. As for my brother, I strongly believe he is mentally unfit. He is not well, so please let's pardon him. From Wale Wale, Elias Otanko reporting.
Correspondent Elias Otanko joins me with the latest on the arrest of the suspect. Elias, so it turns out the police went ahead to arrest the suspect despite the family's plea. Tell us more about that.
Well, this is a region where we have a lot of domestic violence and abuse going unreported. And it's all because of historical, tribal, and cultural belief by the people, especially the women, that a married woman is not supposed to facilitate the arrest or caused the arrest of his or of her husband while in their marriage. They believe that that will bring bad omen or fortune upon the children. And so for a very long time, this particular myth has been suppressing women who suffer domestic violence. And so when this particular incident happened, the mother of the child was in Kumasi engaging in kayaye. The auntie was the person who was taking care of her at the hospital. And just this morning, she was called to come to the hospital. So I met her, and she was confused, as you see her in that particular clip there. And the police had left the police form with the hospital authorities, and the family members were expected to send these particular forms to the police station. And so when she arrived at the hospital, she refused to take this particular action to take the police form to the police for them to start the investigation. And then I asked her, and she said there's a belief that she's not, as long as she's with a man in marriage, she's not supposed to report or cause the arrest of the man. And so it took the intervention of the hospital authorities to force this woman and her other relatives to take the police form to the police station or to present the form to the police here in Wale Wale. So it was then that the police commander swiftly dispatched men to the hospital to get more information on this particular matter, and subsequently the man was arrested. So as I speak to you now, Alassane Mejida is currently in police custody here in Wale Wale.
Thank you. It's our correspondent in the Northeast region. Now, the police in Kumasi have also arrested 3 young men who filmed themselves brandishing guns in a video that went viral. Police say the 3 all siblings and identified as Reverend Alfred Dakora, 43, Emmanuel Dakora, and Richard Suleimana, aged 26 and 28 respectively, were picked up at Gausu in Obuasi. A 4th person is being sought. Speculations have been rife the suspects might have used the weapons for criminal activities. Ashanti Regional Deputy Police Commander DCOP David Ajimanajem told the media the suspects have had their statements taken but are yet to be charged. He says they will, however, remain in custody.
These young men have been variously described as robbers in both the print and radio, as well as on social media. We have these 3 men in our custody in relation to those videos and pictures that we have seen. We have retrieved a pump-action gun, as you can see. The suspects, all belonging to the same family, are Reverend Alfred Dakora, 43 years, Emmanuel Dakora, alias Obo, 26, and Richard Suleiman, 28 years. There's a 4th suspect who we are trying to, or we are making effort to also arrest. We would keep them in our custody as we investigate the matters. They have denied, as you have seen in other videos, that they are not criminals. And so the command would like to appeal to anybody, for that matter, the general public, especially those who allege any criminal activity against these young men, to come forward, give us information so that if it is possible, we can put them before the courts. If anyone has information, whether they claim they have been attacked or they have any information about anything any of these men have done, they should let us know as soon as possible.
DCOP Ajimana Jem has also been speaking about efforts to arrest suspects in the Mansour Mosikrom attack on gold dealers. The attack, led by 6 men wielding pump-action guns, left 2 of the gold dealers with gunshot wounds after 5 of them came under attack.
The police SWAT team stationed at Mansour Edubia district proceeded to the scene, but the alleged robbers fled or had fled the scene before the arrival of the police team. Our preliminary investigation indicated that there were about 6 armed men wielding pump-action guns and machetes. And they had gone into the community to attack the gold buyers in the community. They had robbed them of their monies and some gold, as well as their mobile phones. It was also learned that they had shot and wounded 2 persons who had been taken to the St. Martin's Hospital at Mansour Agro-Isum to receive attention. And so most of you have been asking, we are investigating the matter. The police also retrieved 15 empty cartridges from the scene. We are keeping these for evidential purposes. And efforts are ongoing to arrest these hoodlums. We would take this opportunity to appeal to every person, especially those who live in and around the community and have information on the issue, to provide the police with all the information they have so that we can together apprehend and prosecute these criminals.
In the Central Region, Police Command says it is investigating the circumstances which led to the attack on a Bullion van at Gomwa Ochereko on the Kasa-Winneba Road Thursday. The vehicle was fired at in an incident with one of the bullets shattering the front passenger seat, which was occupied by the police escort at the time. He was, however, unhurt. Regional Police PRO DSP Irene Opon says the police is still on investigations and any update will be communicated to the general public.
On the 17th of June 2020 at 7 p.m., an extract of occurrence was received from Winneba Police Station to the effect that a Bullion van with registration number JN 695617 on board by Jane Sergeant Frank Ajimai and 2 others, including the driver, who was coming from Zenith Bank Odoko branch, were attacked by an unknown persons who shot into the van when they got in between Ochereko and Dominase Highway, heading towards Winneba branch. They went to the police station to report, and the Winneba police gave them an escort, additional van with police officers to escort them from Winneba to Zenith Bank Odoko. Currently, the case is under investigations, and whatever comes out will be shared.
The Ghana Police Service is meanwhile vowing to bring to justice the armed assailants who attacked a Bullion van at Jamestown, resulting in the death of 2 persons, including a police officer. Director General in charge of Legal and Prosecution, COP Nathan Kofi Boakye, maintains the perpetrators will soon be arrested. COP Kofi Boakye was speaking in Kumasi during a passing out ceremony for 320 recruits into the Ghana Police Service.
But it must be stated that recent criminal activities perpetrated by a network of criminal gangs have shaken the foundation of the West Africa sub-region and threaten its peaceful international accolade. And specifically to Ghana, we have all recently witnessed the deadly act of criminals. And at this point, I must ask everybody, I urge you, crave your indulgence to stand up so that we observe 1 minute silence for our colleague Emmanuel Say, who lost his life to such a criminal activity. At this point, I must emphasize the fact that the Ghana Police Service is able and capable and has the ability to arrest these criminals. And I'm at this point, on the behalf of the Inspector General of Police and the Police Administration, assuring everybody and the nation that these criminals, especially those who committed last week's crime, and all others who have committed such crime in recent times, are going to be arrested soon. And when I say soon, they will be arrested soon.
Back here in Parliament, the House has withheld approval of 3 deputy ministers designate over concerns raised by the minority. Gifty Chumampofu, who has been appointed to the Education Ministry, Amido Isahaku Chinia, who is headed to the Sanitation Ministry, and Dinah Asonaba Dapa, who is Deputy Attorney General designate, were part of a list of 15 nominees the House considered Friday. But the report of the Appointments Committee recommending approval was amended to exclude the 3 following objections by the minority. Tamale North MP Alhassan Soyine says he is glad the entire minority is backing his objection to the approval of the Deputy Education Minister designate.
So, to the fight against corruption, we understand. In fact, there is a report that says that corruption in Africa, especially in our part of our world, is driven by the need of the society. So it is difficult for one to suggest that we can wish away corruption, or we can wake up and live in a society that is corruption-free. But the little steps that we make towards that must not be killed. And that will be killed when we begin to numb our conscience towards the fight against corruption. And so I was not satisfied, and I want to thank the leadership of the minority, the caucus in general, for the solidarity. In fact, it gives me inspiration that indeed, when it comes to doing what is right, when the approach and the circumstances and the situations are right, our side will always rise up to the occasion. So upon further consultations with leadership, it was decided that her name be stepped down today for further consultations before the House takes a decision on her.
Deputy Majority Leader Alexander Afenyomarking says this is just a minor setback and that all of them will be approved next week.
The work of Parliament, as Mr. Speaker rightly indicated, is founded on rules and procedure. The parliamentary jurisprudence is clear on what must be done at committee level and at plenary. To me, it's not about somebody's personal sentiment or somebody's personal disagreement. And for the record and for the avoidance of doubt, we are hearing that some nominees or a nominee might have had an issue with a member of Parliament, but that, to my mind, is a personal matter. We voted by consensus, and for whatever concerns that anybody has, I'm sure that on Tuesday we're going to resolve it. So there should be no need to be worried at all. On Friday, the House agreed, last week Friday, that the committee agreed to sit. And we did. Of course, some members were absent, but the work of the committee continued. We concluded our work. So there's no problem, and so far, I would say the leadership of the minority side has been very cooperative, and that has been the spirit within which we have worked.
And so to come in this bulletin, National COVID-19 Trust Fund ambassadors describe as unfortunate the flouting of COVID-19 protocols by the president and other top government officials. We'll bring you more shortly after this break.
The proliferation of currencies on the African continent is said to be a setback to the promotion of regional trade. This challenge will soon, however, be a thing of the past as work on the Pan-African payment system by the Africa Exim Bank as well as the Continental Free Trade Secretariat nears its completion. Speaking at a public lecture in honor of businessman Daniel Macaulay, the Secretary General of the Africa Continental Free Trade Secretariat, Wamkele Mena, hinted that work on the common trading currency is far advanced. We have a report on this.
The General Secretary of the African Continental Free Trade Secretariat, Wamkele Mene, who was the guest speaker, believed a common payment system will help reduce the use of individual countries' currency, which is costing African countries about $5 billion annually. He also called for time to allow for negotiations to be completed whilst trading is ongoing.
One of the mechanisms that the Secretariat is also developing, a technological platform, is a Pan-African payments and settlement platform, which we are designing in collaboration with Eriksen Bank. We know that on the African continent, there is a high cost of currency convertibility. We have 42 currencies. If you want to trade across regions of Africa, you first have to convert your local currency into the dollar, and then the recipient also has to convert the dollars into their local currency when they are counter trading. This is estimated to cost Africa up to $5 billion in transaction costs that flow out of the continent annually. With the deployment of the Pan-African Payments and Settlement Platform, the Secretariat and Eriksen Bank intend to confront some of the challenges that are related to the cost of currency convertibility.
Daniel Macaulay used the opportunity to announce a proposal to establish an African Center of Trade Research at the Law Faculty of the University of Professional Studies. He is confident that such a research center will promote the importance of regional trade on the continent.
In the next couple of months, actually, Africa is a green market, and we need to have a research center into African business. As you rightly heard, Singapore alone is contributing to the global economy 6%. Africa, 54 countries or 52 countries who have signed the treaty are only contributing 2% into the global economy. It's a shame. And I can tell you, Singapore is just a small place. Why can't we also look at what is happening around the world and see how we can contribute towards trade? So this is why the research center is very important.
He also donated a bus to the school to aid in their transportation system.
The Minister for Railways Development, John Peter Amewu, has assured that the working conditions of railway workers will be improved through significant infrastructure investment. According to him, the sector pays poorly and due to the lack of resources to most of the investment channels there. Here's more.
The Ghana Railway Workers Union, in a welcome address to the minister, lamented poor conditions of service and inability of retired staff to live a decent life after service. According to them, the situation is having an adverse effect on the productivity since the sector is not paying as compared with other sectors of the economy. Addressing the workers at Ideba, the Minister for Railways, John Peter Amewu, assured that the challenge of inadequate infrastructure funding for existing railway lines will be addressed in order to revamp their operations.
If you are able to haul at least 5 million metric tons within a year, do you know the revenue that will come to you? Ghana government will come and borrow from you people. And that is where you must go. And that is the area we are looking at. So to pave the way to make sure that your salaries and your living conditions improve, we must begin to revamp the industry. A dying industry without any incentives for revenue cannot continue to exist on its own. Today, if I instruct the general manager or the acting MD please go and triple everybody's salary. Because whatever you pay is gotten from your internal revenue. If I say, okay, please go and pay everybody 3 times the money, he cannot do it. He cannot do it because the infrastructure that will generate the revenue is not available. And that is why the attention of government is that let's quickly put out the infrastructure, let's put more rolling stocks, on the line for them to generate revenue and start paying.
General Secretary for the Workers' Union, Godwill Intama, in an interview with Joy Business, charged the minister to urgently fix their working conditions and also support the revival of the Awaso Bauxite Company, which gives haulage contract to the company. He further disclosed that the first time in many years, 75,000 tons of manganese was hauled through rail transport from Awaso in May this year.
Railway sufferings are not new sufferings to the whole world or Ghana. Even some years back, even paying salaries was a problem. Currently, those salaries have been paid. The salaries are very low to the extent that His Excellency the President himself, even in 2020 August, promised to do something about the low level of salaries. And so that is what we are waiting for. In spite of that, we as workers are also trying our best to make sure that we sustain our company. Just last month, the tonnage of manganese we hauled was about 75,000 tons. Despite the fact that the spare parts and other things that we are expecting have not even come. It tells you that when we are motivated, the commitment is there. We can do a lot for this nation.
John Peter Amawu and the delegation from the ministry earlier paid a courtesy call on the Oman Hene of Iskado, Nana Kobina Nketia V.
And that'll be all for this segment of business.
Welcome to Showbiz here on Joy News Prime.
Vicky.
Hello, how you doing?
Aisha.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Beautiful dress, I must say.
Yes, thank you so much. You too. You know that Sunday is Father's Day. So we have a few celebrities, actually 2 celebrities, telling us about how fatherhood has treated them.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's take that one first.
It's not easy, how much more too, but I'm managing, it's a blessing as well, so I'm trying my best to do what
has it taught you?
To be patient, to tolerate stuff, because you know how kids are, so Penny is doing the stop, Kaka will also do a stop, and like it keeps going on and on and on, so it's not easy, but it's part of life. This is where I've gotten to now, so I have to just move on with it.
It's been amazing. I used to just be the boy who was always scared of owning up, scared of, taking responsibilities. But I look at Coco and I go like, yeah, it's joyful enough to wake up in the morning and know that, yeah, this is a seed. And then Coco just walks up to me and starts singing my song. It's amazing.
Fathers are...
Yeah, happy Father's Day to all fathers out there. Because
not just those who give birth to you, but those who have also played a role in your growing up. Okay. Happy Father's Day to all of you.
So ahead of celebrating, Father's Day, I'd like to bring back Yao Sapong because tomorrow on the Joy News channel, he will be on. The part 2 of the interview will be on. This is Yao Sapong talking about his favorite song of all his
songs. Okay.
Most of all the songs are my favorite songs because any song that I compose, I don't know what to say, but it's like a song like Senkanye Radia Kabini Hesufobia. That song is like when I look back to my family, my father was an MP in Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's government. Okay. But after the coup in 1966, he was arrested and put him in jail. When he came back, he couldn't survive and he passed away. Yeah. So when I look back at my family and saw my talent, then that song just came, that the way my father is not there even none of my brothers went to high school because of the early death of my father. So when I cast my mind back, then that song came. For all these years, if it is not God, what can I do?
You don't have to miss this tomorrow on the award-winning, it comes before the award-winning show, News File.
Aisha, it's co-award.
Oh, co-award.
So this evening,
of course, there's another one coming up with Magdan, Daniel Macaulay. Okay. All right. Thanks so much for bringing us
Anytime, Aisha. Have a nice weekend.
You too. And that'll be it for Showbiz. For those of you watching on Joy Prime, that'll be it. The news continues on Joy News. Leader of the Minority Caucus in Parliament, Haruna Idrissa, has disclosed that his side has filed a motion for a bipartisan probe into circumstances leading to government's purchase of COVID-19 vaccines above the market price. According to him, the transaction per Article 815 of the 1992 Constitution is an international economic transaction, but was not brought before Parliament as prescribed by the law. His call for a probe follows revelations that the Health Ministry has contracted a supplier, SL Global Limited, to purchase 5 million doses of Sputnik V vaccines at $26 per dose. The Ghanaian-owned company serving as the intermediary is to deliver the vaccines in batches, 1 million doses each month until the 5th month, when the country will have had enough doses for inoculation of all eligible persons. In a letter dated March 16, 2021, the Health Ministry requested the Finance Ministry to support it to raise $130 million to be used to pay for COVID-19 vaccines, which were being procured through some third parties. This was discovered barely a week after an investigation by a Norwegian newspaper uncovered the government was in the process of buying the Sputnik V vaccine for $18.5 per dose from the businessman instead of $10. The minority in Parliament maintains the pricing of the product is a rip-off. The request for a formal parliamentary probe into the matter.
Filing an urgent motion on the health sector and to request for a bipartisan probe into Ghana's procurement of COVID vaccines as $26 and not $10 as is the practice in many countries, and for which motion, as I've emphasized, will be to call for a bipartisan probe, because for all intents and purposes we think that even that transaction is an international economic transaction within the meaning of Article 1815 of the Constitution. Parliament is not aware of it. We would want to appreciate and understand the procurement processes that were used, but more importantly, to demand value for money for the Ghanaian taxpayer, and that we are not just seeking to profit from COVID with this questionable transaction. So, Mr. Speaker, we will file an urgent motion. We've done that. I'm sure the table will give it to you before the close of sitting.
Ranking member on Parliament's Education Committee, Peter Nocho, is urging the security agencies to prosecute WAEC officials involved in the leakage of exam papers to serve as a deterrent to others. Education think tank Africa Education Watch says its investigations have revealed that question papers for the 2020 West African Senior School Certificate Examination WASI were leaked to candidates. According to its executive director, Kofi Asari, these question papers were sent from the West African Examination Council's IT department to other online platforms, which were subsequently forwarded to his outfit by a member on the platform. Mr. Nocho says WAEC needs to sit up.
Because we were of the view that the 2020 WASI examination was compromised, and there's a need for WAEC to sit up to its responsibility as an internationally recognized and credible examinations body. Many a time we have asked the WAEC to liaise with the security agencies that deal in this ICT or cyber crime, so that they can track those people who are engaging in these activities I know the police force has a very good outfit for that on cybercrime. So if they collaborate with them, it will be easy for them to arrest those perpetrators and punish them severely. But that is not being done. So we believe that if that is done and they are tracked and arrested and punished seriously or severely, others will not follow whatever they are doing. So WAEC must sit up to its responsibility, because people are not being punished for leakages of examination questions, and that is why the trend is continuing. So we feel strongly that serious security measures must be put in place.
Is that something WAEC itself should be doing with its own internal security, so that some of these questions and all don't?
Yeah, WAEC should, as I said earlier, should collaborate with the security agencies. That will help them. But they must also intensify their internal security, because they publish the questions. And so leakage can start at the publication level. Then transportation to the various depots, it can also happen in that process. So they, as a matter of fact, must make sure that that security is assured. So they are the first point of work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Away from Parliament, brand ambassadors of the National COVID-19 Trust Fund have described as unfortunate the flouting of protocols aimed at containing the spread of the virus in Ghana by top government officials, including the president. This was at the inauguration at a ceremony here in Accra to help promote the fund's activities. Chairperson of the fund, former Chief Justice Ofeya Kufu, appealed to the brand ambassadors to use every opportunity available to them to raise funds for the trust, describing their selection as a vote of confidence in their ability to deliver.
All ambassadors should endeavor henceforth to use every platform and opportunity that will become available to them or that they will create, either on their own or in collaboration with others, to help raise more funds and contributions in cash and in kind from individuals, corporate organizations, groups, institutions, and NGOs to support the trust fund in the discharge of its mandate. That the trustees and the trust fund recognize, acknowledge, and highly value your expertise, your skills, and your competencies. And we trust in your ability to deliver on this task that we're going to put on your shoulders.
Ms. Ofeya says the fund has so far spent over 49 million cedis on various initiatives to help the country's COVID-19 response.
COVID-19 National Trust Fund has to date spent an amount of 49,757,816 cedis and 14 pesos. I don't know why they always add those pesos. Out of the cash donations of 57,174,014 Ghana cedis, 38 pesos received. We are very accurate, you can see. In addition, the trust fund has donated material gifts, food and non-food items, vehicles, ambulances, assorted drinks, etc., that we have received in kind from over 600 donors made up of individuals, social groups, religious bodies, NGOs, public and private associations, corporate bodies, to whom we are all extremely grateful.
Joy News editor Israel, who spoke on behalf of his colleagues, pledged they will put in their all, though the appointment comes at a challenging time.
And as ambassadors, we pledge to put at the disposal of the fund our talents and abilities to push the cause of the fund. It comes at a rather difficult time, and I'll explain why in a bit. It comes at a time when there's COVID-19, there's been a pandemic, and the economy is suffering, and yet we have to go out there to the companies and try and convince them to support the cause. It comes at a time when many people in Ghana actually feel that there's no COVID-19. And so they've stopped wearing their masks. And yet we have to go out there and convince them that there's still COVID-19. And maybe let me just add this to it. It was just yesterday, it was in the news that a 12-year-old girl who got COVID-19 is suffering from the effects of it 1 year on. She's still in hospital and she's paralyzed. So there are those who will die when they get COVID-19. There are those who will survive. But there are those too who will survive and have to live with the effects of the disease for a really long time. That is why we must all make sure we're taking very good care of ourselves. Again, we're being inaugurated as ambassadors at a time when the images of the president and his vice and the Chief Justice being splashed, and they are under fire for disregarding the same protocols that we're supposed to be observing. We, as ambassadors, describe that event and the images as unfortunate. And we pray that it does not happen again.
The other ambassadors are Reggie Raxton, Nanama McBrown, Prior Tietia, Prior Tintin, Emilia Broby, Abeku Santana, and Ibi Bright. So other stories, Vice-Chancellor of the Cape Coast Technical University, Professor Joshua Danso-Wusu-Sechere, is asking industries and government to support technical universities in the country to live up to the purpose of the establishment. Speaking at the unveiling ceremony of a bracket machine built by the university's Mechanical Engineering Department, Professor Wusu-Sechere said, with the right support, the universities can innovate and invent machines and equipment they would have otherwise imported. Richard Kujonyako has more in the following report.
The briquetting machine put together by the Design and Innovation Hub at the Cape Coast Technical University is to help resolve environmental challenges associated with the disposal of waste of wood manufacturing companies in Ghana, as well as other wood workers. Vice-Chancellor of the Cape Coast Technical University, Professor Joshua Danso-Wusu-Sechere, is entreating industries in Ghana and government to help resource technical universities across the country to produce machines and other equipment that hitherto they imported into the country. He says the capabilities of the technical universities in Ghana are being underutilized.
It is time we all realized that brains are brains. The brain of the white man is no different from the brain of the black man. The only problem is that we haven't challenged ourselves enough. And when we challenge ourselves, we'll be able to do a lot more things. So this is a call to all industrialists. It's a call to the government as well. Bring us money and put us to the task. We will build for you whatever you want us to build for you. You must understand that as we start, we may not get it perfectly, but that is how other countries started. We will start from the low scale and build up and build for you things which will marvel you. We have very bright minds in the technical universities. There is nothing they cannot build if they put their minds and their hearts to it. All they need is a support from government, support from industry.
Head of the Mechanical Engineering Department at the Cape Coast Technical University, Dr. Kwame Ananifenin, breaks down how the machine that has been produced works and its benefits.
The briquetting machine, as you see them outlined over there, the first one to my extreme is the carbonization chamber, followed by, which is used to pyrolyze the raw material, then the hammer mill for pulverizing the char, then we have a mixer, and then we have the last is the briquette machine itself. The difference between briquettes and charcoal is that briquettes are recycled agro-waste products and therefore environmentally friendly. Briquettes have higher calorific value, meaning that they have higher heat energy. Briquettes take longer time to burn, just to mention a few.
Managing Director of Fairnat Ghana Limited, a wood manufacturing company, Opebia Omabo, says the company is impressed with the outcome of their request to the university.
We hope it serves the purpose for which it is going to be installed on our factory premises, and we look forward to partnering them. And of course, we've asked the VC to put in place a module within the CCTU for wood, for woodworks.
The Cape Coast Technical University says collaborations between the academia and industry will help in providing opportunities to address challenges that confront the country on a daily basis. Reporting for Joy News, Richard Kwejenyakun, Cape Coast.
Ghana is among 8 countries from 3 continents securing support from the Dutch government to initiate social justice. Star Ghana and the West Africa Civil Society Institute are leading the project in Ghana, which will see individuals, NGOs and media houses embark on a series of development activities by harnessing local resources at the community level under the 5-year project.
Prevailing times are pushing nations and individuals to be self-reliant. Key way to achieving this change is by galvanizing local philanthropy to initiate development. These are the remarks of renowned local philanthropist Dr. Kofi Osei-Kusi at the launch of the Giving for Change project spearheaded by Star Ghana Foundation and WASI.
Being a philanthropist is nothing really extraordinary. It's about, a private initiative, private people having the sense of, doing something for the public good. And like you rightly said, we certainly need to reignite that. What makes humanity is when we actually think about other people. Like myself, we didn't start what we're doing with millions in our account. We just started with a sense of looking at the problems that the youth are facing in this country and asking ourselves, what can we do about these issues? What can we do about the young people in prisons? What are we doing about young people on the streets? What are we doing about people with disabilities that are struggling to have access to education? And the question is, once you start from somewhere, you'll be amazed about how far it will take you. So there is hope for this nation if people are going to rise up, look at the problems, and forget about what is in it for them and think about what they can do for their country.
For the Dutch ambassador to Ghana, Ronald Stryker, the Giving for Change project is a game changer for Ghana's future.
In many countries, the state is the main actor. But in free societies, and free societies have citizens, not subjects. It's a different thing. Citizens, free society have citizens. The citizens can organize themselves and stand up for themselves as well, alongside the state, and maybe even for the same purpose, to achieve the same things or to achieve other things, but they themselves have a responsibility as a citizens to work for their society. Apart from the state, as I said, and apart from the private sector, that is the civil society. And that is a fundamental part of our society too in the Netherlands, and I think it is also a fundamental pillar of Ghana, because Ghana is a free country.
Kwame Sefakai of the Kokoroko Charities, an NGO which is into the provision of child incubators, said philanthropy demands trust and commitment. A key concern of project implementers bothered on understanding the role of culture and its impact on the execution of a change project. Former MD of Stanbic Bank, now a chief, Na Al-Hassan Andani, gives some advice.
We've come from feudal traditional kingdoms where all the kingdoms had systems to look after themselves, to colonial administration where we are put under one kind of governance system that had its own objectives. Those objectives were not about looking after us. It was about looking after the colonial kingdoms that brought them here. We transitioned to government. Again, our own history of governance has brought us thus far. where we have, thank God, at least 2 counterbalancing factors or forces. So what we need now to move forward is a very energized civil society organizations that you all sitting here represent.
A total of €1,899 will be expended on the 5-year-long project in Ghana.
Abuna East Regional Minister Kwesi Edujan has inaugurated 3 advisory committees to provide guidance, direction and advice towards the development of the region. The committees comprising business development and industrialization, infrastructure and education, and human capital are mandated to provide guidance and expertise in the various sectors and come up with a bipartisan strategic plan to serve as a blueprint for the continuity of coordinated and accelerated developmental projects of the region. My colleague Anna Sabit was at a brief inauguration ceremony and came through with this report.
The Bullion East region has, in line with the National Development and Economic Planning Agenda, inaugurated 3 advisory committees of eminent personalities with expertise in business, human capital and infrastructure development to provide guidance, direction and advice for the accelerated development of the region within the next 5 years. Bullion East Regional Minister Mr. Kwesi Edujan, at a short ceremony to inaugurate the 5-year strategic plan of the region, highlighted the vision of the region, which seeks to make the region the hub for agro-processing industries.
Committees of eminent personalities with expertise in business, human capital and infrastructure development have been formed to provide guidance, direction, and advice for accelerated development of our region. With the support of stakeholders, I intend that we those here work to make Bullion East region a preferred destination for agro-based industries.
The committees, which includes the Business Development and Industrialization Committee, the Education and Human Capital Development Committee, and the Infrastructure Committees, are to provide pragmatic ideas and suggestions to drive the region's strategic plan starting on the 1st day of July this year.
It is incumbent upon the committees to provide experience and expertise in the various sectors to the development of a 5-year strategic plan of the region. A strategic plan that will clearly define a vision and a mission statement, goals and objectives, an action plan with timelines, deliverables, targets, and key performance indicators. Ladies and gentlemen, it may interest you to know that the development of the 5-year strategic plan will start on the 1st of July, next month.
Mr. Kwesi Edujan called on members of the committees to work diligently, devoid of partisan sentiments, by placing the development of the region above all.
My hope and focus is that a decade from now, the Bullion East region will be more efficient and provide more investor choice than any other region in Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen, the membership of this committee has been carefully selected. It is above partisanship politics. It is about the development of our region, the Bullion East region. That is the criteria for the selection of the membership of the committees.
Dean of the University of Ghana School of Business and Chairman of the Business Development and Industrialization Committee, Professor Bawale, pledged on behalf of all members of the committee to contribute towards the success of the region and called on the RCC to champion the issues of security, which remains a worry for the people living in the eastern part of the region.
We want to pledge on behalf of all of our members that we are going to give our best to the region. As we do that, I wish to bring to your attention one major issue which you have acknowledged already and have started working on. The issue of security across various municipalities. So together with the Regional Security Council and with your service commanders, We acknowledge that you are already working on this, but a lot more effort will help us to be able to ensure that we are able to bring a lot of safety to our people across the region.
Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Teacherman.
And back here in Accra, Group CEO of McDan Group of Companies, Daniel Macaulay, says today's youth must do much more to be successful in business. In a yet-to-be-aired interview on PM Personality Profile, Daniel Macaulay advised the youth to check their attitude, adding it is key to success.
Young guys of these days are not patient, and they are not ready to serve.
Okay.
And they want to be rich as at yesterday, and that's a big problem. And they don't have patience. And,
they want it quick.
They want it quick, and I always say that, you know, it's not so difficult, but to start the right business and to grow successful, the secret is attitude. As I keep saying, I always say it. If you want to be very successful, 70% is your attitude.
Okay.
25% is your skill, the skill. 5% is knowledge.
Okay.
So if you don't have the right attitude, how do you expect to be?
The full interview is at 9 p.m. After this bulletin, do make a date. We'll take a break on Joy News Prime. We'll bring you part 2 of business and sports.
In business, the country manager for accounting firm PwC Ghana, Visha Shagbo, has expressed confidence that the country's entire financial system has been strengthened to support post-COVID-19 economic growth. According to him, though challenges with cost of lending lingers, efforts are being taken by the banks to ensure that critical sectors of the economy receive adequate funding.
Talking here about the financial sector, so it's not just the banks. There's a whole ecosystem of pensions, of capital markets, etc., etc. But overall, I think that we're actually quite fortunate because some of the reforms that we've gone through over the last 3-4 years, I think have put the whole financial system on a stronger footing to support the post-pandemic recovery. So in simple terms, I think absolutely the financial sector is strong and is able to support the recovery that
when it comes to lending to private sector, not only to government, but I mean to the private sector.
Yes, you see,
the cost of lending. The
cost of lending is an issue. Hopefully, in due time, we'll see that addressed. But you spoke about lending and lending to, let's say, the real sector as opposed to government. These are commercial issues or commercial decisions that the banks have to take because, as we said in the course of our panel contributions, that banks are actually commercial organizations. They need to make a return. So they're assessing the risk in the market, the risk in certain businesses, the risk in certain sectors. If they feel sufficiently able to mitigate those risks, they'll definitely go ahead and make that lending. So it's a balance. They operate based on a portfolio. They'll have some investments in government securities. They will invest in the real sectors of the economy, but it all depends on the risk-return equation.
Now, the Ghana Hotels Association says its members are undertaking cost-cutting measures due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which has dealt a great blow to the hospitality sector. Latest GDP figures released by the Ghana Statistical Service reveals that the tourism and hospitality sectors contracted by 10.7%, while the economy expanded by 3.1% in the first quarter of this year. According to the president of the association, Dr. Edward Akanyamike, the need for the industry to re-strategize cannot be overemphasized. He spoke earlier on the marketplace.
But now what is going on is that we are encouraging our members to get into some form of partnership with our colleagues in the industry. For instance, we have the tour operators, the car renters. These are bodies that we work with within the industry to promote packages to people to embark on tourism. And again, we have also embarked on managing the few resources that we have in terms of education and in terms of training to cut down costs in terms of cost management so that at least there's some profit margins in it. And of course, we are also pushing for the online marketing, the social media marketing.
Okay.
We are getting our members to go more in that direction, because doing the business as usual in the past, it's not taking anybody anywhere. So we are pushing for that.
Now, the 26th General Assembly of the African Organization for Standardization has elected the Director General of the Ghana Standards Authority, Professor Alex Dodu, as its next president. He will succeed Charles Botu and when he steps down in June 2022 after the unanimous victory in Kigali, Rwanda. In his speech after the win, Professor Dodu expressed gratitude to member states for the trust and confidence reposed in Ghana and his candidature.
There have been a lot of attempts to have free trade among Africa, because intra-Africa trading will boost us. My prayer is that ASO will lead the trading between nations. My prayer is that we will become the catalyst for that change. And so, as I work with the president in the transition year, the vision I will support ASO to have just 4. 1, sustainability of ASO, including financial sustainability. Without having money, we cannot develop, we cannot expand, and we cannot set our own agenda. And it's very important ASO sets its own agenda. The second one is, how can ASO boost intra-Africa trade through industrialization, through the use of standards, through mutual recognition arrangements, and any other means that will let us trade with each other within the continent. So for me, I've actually changed the theme to say boosting inter-Africa trade is 1 continent, 1 standard, 1 test, 1 certificate accepted everywhere.
The former president of the Ghana Association of Bankers, Alhassan Andani, is backing calls for the June ending deadline for deployment of armored vehicles by banks to cut bulk cash to be reviewed. The Inspector General of Police has directed banks to have all the vehicles for cutting of currencies be fully fortified and armored by the end of this month, or risk losing these services. The former MD Alhassan and the MD of Bank of Africa, Mersin Tokonu, was the first to have called for a review of this directive. Ms. Andani says a little extension will see all the banks fully complying. He was speaking on PM Express Business Edition.
It's the stage of development of the economy. So we in terms of investment by banks, thanks to technology, banks have been able to put in significant infrastructure to facilitate payment or cashless payment. However, we're evolving as an economy from very heavy cash dealing to now we kind of in between transitioning from cash to cashless payment. And it's all a set of mindset change and education, and also just ensuring that the payers and also the traders have all the infrastructure available to transition into cash-like or cashless economy. But it's a transition. We've seen significant drop in the amount of cash that was being paid. But you wouldn't just, it's not a snap of the finger and people would just transition to cash-less or cash-like economy. It's a process that is ongoing at the moment. The leadership of the Bankers Association have already articulated this position to the leadership of the Ghana Police Service. We can understand the anxiety and we are very concerned. There have been significant loss of lives and protecting cash. This is a service they are doing to the Ghanaian public. And while the money and the intent and the commitment is there by banks, these are specialized vehicles that have to be imported and all of that. So I'm sure some space will be given for banks to comply. And already there are some armored vehicles or bullion banks already in the system. Certainly not enough, but I'm sure the authorities will work with the banks, given the reality of the situation that these vehicles have to be procured from outside the country and shipped in and cleared and all the licensing done to deploy them. So I believe that some further negotiations will take place to ensure that we can continue to serve the Ghanaian people. It's not really the problem of the banks. The banks are just a reflection of the state of the economy, and we play a vital role in trying to facilitate transactions and also grow the economy. So whatever decisions are being contemplated, is the ordinary people of Ghana, traders, and everybody's whose interests have to be taken into account. Yes, the banks may appear to be at the center of it, but we are playing basically a coordinating role in the economy, and the banks will not be the ones that will be immediately impacted. Everybody else will be impacted. So I believe the authorities will reflect all these concerns as they try to drive the discipline and to make sure the right investments are put in place.
And that'll be all for business with me, Charles Arite, but I'll leave you with a summary of international business news this day.
Thanks for staying with us. Time to bring you the second installment of sports. And former WBO Super Bantamweight champion Isaac Royal Storm Dogbe will take another step towards his push for a second world title on Saturday when he takes on Adam Lopez at the Virgin Hotel in Las Vegas. There is more in this preview.
This was Isaac Dogbe in July 2020. He made a successful comeback after his back-to-back defeat against Emmanuel Navarrete in 2018 and 2019 by defeating Chris Avalos via an 8th round stoppage. On Saturday night, Isaac Dogbe will take another step towards his push for a second world title when he takes on Adam Lopez at the Virgin Hotel in Las Vegas. Lopez holds a record of 15 fights and 2 defeats. He is best noted for his performance against WBC Super Featherweight champion Oscar Valdez. He dropped Valdez in the second round of their fight, but got stopped under controversial circumstances in the 7th round. Isaac Dogbe has been preparing in the United States under trainer Barry Hunter and is regarded as the favorite going into Saturday's fight. Experts, however, expect the fight to be a war given Lopez's all-action style. The American is nicknamed the Glendale Gatti after former featherweight Arturo Gatti, whose all-action style endeared him to boxing fans. Victory will take Isaac Dogbe closer to another world title shot, but defeat will undo the gains made from the Chris Avalos victory.
So stay on Isaac Dogbe, and boxing official Yofi Boam has called on Dogbe to use his upcoming bout against Adam Lopez as an opportunity to redeem his image. The WBO Super Bantamweight bout is scheduled for Saturday, June 19.
This happens to be a redemption fight. So it's to redeem his past glory. Well, it is in the upper division, a featherweight. You know, he was a super bantam. That's where he fed, and then finally, you know, lost his world title to Navarrete. Now Navarrete has gone up in weight to the featherweight, and he's the reigning world champion for the WBO. Isaac Dogbe has also gone up in weight, and he's gone to the same division. So there will be rubbing shoulders should everything go on well for Isaac Dogbe in this preliminary fight. So I expect him to use this as a redemption to redeem his prestige in the sport, and then excel exceedingly, so that he would be able to climb the ladder, and then eventually meet Navarrete again. And this is what I think he has to look up to.
Great.
In boxing, you are all in the same division. So whether you like it or not, you'll be meeting the champion if you so desire to fight for the championship. If the champion has beaten you 10 times, and you get the opportunity to fight him again, and at that time in the championship, you have to grab the opportunity. You cannot say because you've lost to him several times, you wouldn't be. It's an opportunity that might have shown up. And so we take advantage of that, and then train hard and probably subdue him, so that you also enjoy the glory of the championship. In this case, in the lower division, they fought twice, and all were won by Navarrete. They've all gone up, and he's to meet him again over there because he's the champion. And if the opportunity arises, he cannot say he would grab it. Now, the featherweight division in history is a very, very, very tough division. So it is with the other world bodies. He has his rank in the WBC. I think with the IPF, he's ranked. If he happens to be ranked in all the major world bodies, so he cannot avoid any of them.
Okay.
In local football, there is FA Cup action this weekend. Accra Hearts of Oak up against Windy Professionals. But let's take a look at the full complement of the fixtures to look forward to this weekend. Tamale City play Techiman City. Kintampo Top Stars will play Kato Freedom Fighters. Paga Crocodiles up against Udiana FC. Steadfast will play Brecum Chelsea. Kintampo FC, they are up against Sunyani Reformers. Thunderbolts versus Asante Kodokwa. Sokwa Deportivo play Sky FC. Karela United will play Mediama Sporting Club. And the Cape Coast Derby, Elmina Sharks are up against Venomous Vipers. Aboy Young Stars will play Ashgold. Atram Divisie play Oko United, and Hearts of Oak versus Windy Professionals of Winneba. Legon Cities play Far Rangers. Third World FC versus Tema Youth. Young Wise versus Wafa Hearts of Lions play Accra Great Olympics. Quite tricky for the Daddy Boys. Christian Eriksen has been discharged from hospital after successful operation to fit a heart-starting device. The Denmark midfielder suffered a cardiac arrest during the side's defeat by Finland in Copenhagen on Saturday. He visited his teammate today and will now return home with his family. Eriksen said in a statement, "Thank you for the massive number of greetings, and it's been incredible to see and feel. The operation went well, and I'm doing well under the circumstances. It was really great to see the guys again after the fantastic game they played last night. No need to say that I'll be cheering them on Monday against Russia." That's it for sports. You can read more at myjoyonline.com/sports. My name is Hans Mensando. Have a lovely weekend.
And that's how we draw the curtains tonight. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Many thanks for watching. For more news, log on to My Joy Online. There is more of the updates of the developing stories there.